The long wait is over. The Islanders rookies have reported to rookie camp. We've got the latest from that camp, plus a battle for the starting goaltender position, as only Lane Lambert can spell it out. We've got the latest on that and a whole lot more, all on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the weekend edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Gil Martin, so glad you could join us today and be part of the Locked On Islanders family. And thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. We have got a lot to discuss on today's episode. The big news, of course, that rookies have reported to rookie camp. So the new season is here and upon us, and we'll break all of that down. But first, if you've got something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, a topic you'd like us to discuss on the show, feel free to email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we are happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR_VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings throughout training camp, all the way up through the preseason and the start of the regular season, which is less than a month away. So lots going on now. And as I mentioned on the Wednesday show, we are now going back starting Monday to a 5-show-a-week format. So it's Monday through Friday with new shows dropping at midnight. So make sure you check that out. The big news, the Islanders rookie camp is underway, and 25 players, 13 forwards, 9 defensemen, 3 goaltenders, all there to basically start preparations for the upcoming season. And the roster is this way. The forwards include 2016 sixth-round pick Colin Adams, Eric Brown, an undrafted player who spent last year with Bridgeport, William Dufour, who we have spoken so much about after playing so well for St. John last year in the Quebec League, Arnaud Durando, who was with Bridgeport for a good portion of the year, Simon Holmstrom, former first-round pick from 2019, Ruslan Ishkov, Blade Jenkins, Dylan Kufler, Jimmy Lambert, Kyle McLean, Matthew Maggio, fifth-round pick from 2022. That's this year. Reese Newkirk, a fifth-round pick from 2019, and Autu Raty, the second-round pick of a year ago, who finished the season in Bridgeport after playing in Finland during most of the season. On defense, Samuel Bolduc, the second-round pick from 2019, who spent last year in Bridgeport. Dennis Cholowski, who we discussed, who the Islanders just signed, who will be battling for that sixth spot on the depth chart on defense. Trevor Cosgrove, who attended Northern Michigan last year. Isaiah George, fourth-round pick in this year's draft. Grant Hutton, who made his Islanders and NHL debut last season. Ryan McKinnon, Connor McCarthy, Robin Salo, who also, as we know, will be battling for that sixth defensive spot and played with the Islanders for part of last year. And then Vincent Savigny. Then the goaltenders. Third-round pick of 2021, Tristan Lennox, who was in the OHL last year. Jakob Skarek, who spent most, last year in Bridgeport, 3rd-round pick in 2018, and then Henrik Tikkanen, a 7th-rounder in 2020, who was in Finland last year and now will be with the Islanders. So very happy to see the players are back on the ice. Yes, it is mostly rookies, but it really does feel good to see, some real prospects and some players in Islanders uniforms. And you know what? Even the guys who realistically don't have much of a chance of making this team this year, even those guys are there to make an impression on the coaching staff. Some of them trying to earn minor league contracts, but for many of them, whether they play in the ECHL or the AHL, whether they take a big step forward and go from just another body in camp to a player who the Islanders would consider calling up if injuries hit during the course of the season. That does make a difference. William Dufour, coming off the gold medal at the World Junior Championships with Team Canada and winning the Memorial Cup and being the MVP of the Quebec League. He had this to say at rookie camp: "It's nice to talk to the boys. I've been practicing with some of the guys, but there are some new faces who I've only seen on Instagram. New faces, new friends, new family." Robin Salo, who played 21 games last year. I've been here for 1 year, but yeah, of course, if someone asks a question or anything, I'll try to guide them just to be a good teammate. And Salo adds, "It's great to have Johnny Boychuk and Dennis Seidenberg, who were working with the teams on the ice. Great to have those guys here helping us. They are unbelievable players and great guys. It's good to get some small pointers from them from a player's perspective." So the Islanders rookies reporting to camp on the ice for the first time, and the 2022-2023 season, that whole process now officially underway for your New York Islanders. So I am sort of announcing that we're out of the off-season portion of the calendar and into the training camp and then preseason portion of the calendar. And I'll tell you, that is really good to see, to say the least. And yeah, we are off and running, as they say. We have got more to discuss on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. We've got an interesting quote from Lane Lambert about the goaltending situation. We'll break that down for you. And we also have our Islanders birthday of the day, a very popular enforcer who played for the Islanders in the late 80s through the mid 90s. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all that and more coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. You can find all the latest football league developments, game matchups, and news and podcasts, including this year's first few games of the season. BetOnline is also your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. It's the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. And look, the NHL training camp's getting underway this week, next week. NBA training camps are just a few weeks away. They've got it all at betonline.net. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So an interesting quote from Lane Lambert as he was gathering with the media and discussing the upcoming season. And, this is one of those quotes, and it came from the New York Post, but this is one of those quotes that really, to me, this is coaches speak, but there is definitely truth to it. And here's what Lane Lambert had to say about his goaltending situation. Those two guys, and he's talking about Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov, are going to push each other. And they cheer for each other. They're going to push each other. That's healthy competition, and that's going to be great. Again, I think that'll play itself out through training camp in terms of who gets the majority or plays a little bit more. Now, we all know that coming into training camp, Ilya Sorokin is the favorite to be the nominal starting goaltender for the Islanders this coming season. And, if the Islanders play 82 games, it would not surprise me if Sorokin starts 55 of them. But it benefits the Islanders. It doesn't benefit them at all if you just declare Sorokin the starter and say Varlamov has no chance to start. And, that's the way it's going to be. By putting it this way, you keep Varley hungry and you keep Sorokin looking over his shoulder. Not that you don't want him to be confident, but you want him to understand, you know what? If you want to be the undisputed starting goaltender on this team, and we want you to be that guy, but nothing is guaranteed. And if you want to be that guy, show us that you're ready to be that guy. Go out there and earn it. And hopefully, that is what we see from Ilya Sorokin. And realistically, Sorokin and Varlamov, both Russian goalies, both with different levels of experience. But the good thing is these guys do have a good relationship. They seem to be able to help each other. And they do seem to be the kind of players who, even though they're in competition with each other, they work well together and they try to benefit each other. And I think what Lane Lambert is trying to do here is to bring out the best in both goalies. And I could tell you right now that, yes, Ilya Sorokin is the favorite to be the starter. And he deserves to be when you look at what he did last year. The numbers are clear-cut. Sorokin, 26, 18, and 8, a .925 save percentage, a 2.40 goals against average. Varley, below 500, 10, 17, and 2. Goals against average of 2.91. That's half a goal worse than Sorokin. And the save percentage, 911. That's 14 points lower than Sorokin. But you also have to remember this. Last season, Varlamov was injured, missed most of training camp, missed the start of the regular season, had to sort of play himself into shape. It wasn't a typical season for Semyon Varlamov. And here he is in the final year of his contract with a lot of incentive for a Varley to produce and play well and to set himself up for that next contract, whether it be with the Islanders or whether it be with another team. And he has nothing to lose and everything to gain by playing well this season. And, is it still possible that the Islanders trade Varlamov before or at the trade deadline? Yeah, I think that's still definitely possible. It'll depend on how both players are playing, where the Islanders are in the standings. Even it will depend partially on Jakub Skarek and how well he's doing down at Bridgeport, because if he's playing well, it's less of a concern to trade Varley, or maybe they get another backup goalie back. But by keeping the competition open, you give incentive to both Sorokin and Varlamov to be at their best. You keep them both on their toes, and the team benefits the most from having that kind of a competition going on between the two goaltenders. You and I both know if both goalies are healthy and both goalies play to their potential, that it'll probably be, Varlamov starting 45% of the games and Sorokin starting 55, give or take a little bit. That is the most likely outcome of this training camp and preseason. But we also know injuries happen. We know slumps happen. And even if it's just a question of Ilya Sorokin goes through a rough patch for a week or two, you want Varley there to pick up the pace and step in and give the Islanders that quality goaltending that Varley can give, that he's shown he can give throughout his NHL career. And, Varley needs the incentive. And overall, I just think it benefits the team. It benefits both goalies. So I like the way Lane Lambert's doing this. Yeah, it's mostly lip service, but there's truth behind it. And I think in the end, both goalies and the team will benefit from this sort of public statement by Lane Lambert. And he's beginning his head coaching career with a wise way of getting that done. So we'll see what happens. But overall, a smart move, in my opinion, by Lane Lambert as training camp is getting underway. We have got more to get to on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. A popular enforcer from the late 80s and early 90s is our Islanders birthday of the day. And believe it or not, we are going to go back and look at his biggest moment offensively in his NHL career. So let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all that and more coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. I want to wish a belated happy 56th birthday to former Islanders forward Mick Vukota, the native of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, undrafted, played in the Western Hockey League where he racked up the penalty minutes, but also scored, in his last year with the Spokane Chiefs of the Western Hockey League in junior. Mick Vukota scored 25 goals in 61 games, also had more than 300 penalty minutes for the second straight season in the Western League at that point. Made his Islanders debut the following year, 87-88, playing in 17 games, having his first NHL goal and 82 penalty minutes. He also played 2 playoff games for the Isles that year. Stayed with the Islanders through the 96-97 season, then went on to play with Tampa Bay and Montreal for 97-98 before finishing his career with the Utah Grizzlies of the IHL in 1999-2000. Mick Vukota, known primarily for dropping the gloves, topped 200 penalty minutes in each of his first 5 full seasons with the Islanders and never had less than 100 penalty minutes if he played at least 20 games for the Islanders in any given season. So he was there primarily because of his ability to drop the gloves. And in his NHL career, Vukota played in 573 games with almost all of them. Only 64 of those games were with other NHL teams. So 573 career NHL games, 17 goals, 46 points, 2,071 penalty minutes. He played in 23 playoff games, 22 of those with the Islanders in his NHL career. No goals, no points, 73 penalty minutes. And we are going to take a look at what was clearly the best offensive game of Mick Vukota's NHL career. Because here's a guy who scored 17 career NHL goals in a career that started in 1987 and went through 1998. So that's part of 12 seasons in the NHL. scored 17 goals over those dozen seasons, but 3 of them came in one particular game. October 20th, 1989, at the old Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. The Islanders visiting the Washington Capitals. Glenn Healy, the goaltender for the Islanders. Don Beaupre in between the pipes for the Washington Capitals. And it was the Islanders getting on the board first. Our Islanders' birthday of the day, Mick Vukota, his first from Don Maloney and Gilles Thibodeau at 10:08. It was 1-0 Islanders midway through the first. 4 minutes, 32 seconds later, Mick Vukota strikes again, his second of the game, second of the season. Thibodeau again, the only assist at 14:40. And then 28 seconds after that, Vukota completes the natural hat trick. His third of the game, third of the year. Don Maloney, Gilles Thibodeau with the helpers. After the first period, Islanders 3 and the Capitals nothing. Did I mention that Mick Vukota got into a fight in the second period of this game, dropping the gloves with Capitals tough guy Alan May? Another high sticking minor added for Vukota, an instigator minor for May. But Mick Vukota getting the fight in the second period. Unfortunately, the Capitals do get a power play early when Dean Chenoweth goes off for cross-checking, and Michael Pavanka, his fourth from Scott Stevens. That makes it a 3-1 game. But the Islanders extend the lead to 4-1 with a little more than 5 minutes left in the period. Randy Wood, his third, Jeff Norton and Pat LaFontaine with the 2 assists at 14:05, 4-1 Isles. But then the Capitals claw their way back in. Doug Wickenheiser, his first from Rob Murray and Bill Holder at 15:52. That makes it 4-2. And then late in the period, Alan Kerr goes off for the Islanders for cross-checking. Islanders nemesis Dale Hunter, his sixth on the power play. Stevens and Jeff Courtnall with the assist at 17:39. Islanders clinging to a 4-3 lead after 40 minutes. But in the third, it's still a 1-goal game most of the way. But when Bill Holder of Washington goes off for tripping, Brian Trottier closes out the scoring with a power play goal. His third, Alan Kerr and Jeff Norton with the assist at 18:25. Islanders down the Capitals 5-3, 26 saves for Glenn Healy to earn the win. Meanwhile, for Mick Vukota, our Islanders' birthday of the day, he has the hat trick. He had 5 shots on goal, which ties him for second on the team in shots. Pat LaFontaine had 7. But Vukota, a +3. He had 7 penalty minutes and got his only career hat trick in this game as the Islanders down the Capitals in Washington by a final score of 5-3. So again, a belated birthday. Wednesday was the actual 56th birthday of former Islanders winger and tough guy Mick Vukota. So happy birthday to Mick, and he is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Hard to believe the offseason is now coming to a close. Very happy to say that rookie camp is underway, and we will have updates from rookie camp, and then when the veterans report from veteran camp as well. We will be there for you the entire time and have all the latest updates, injury updates, who's playing with who's doing well, who's struggling. We'll have all of that for you as the 2022-2023 rookie camp and training camp get underway. Thanks again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On NHL. Locked On experts give you a daily 30-minute podcast on all things NHL all year long. So stay up to date on everything in the hockey world. Locked On NHL, your daily 30-minute NHL podcast. We'll be back Monday as, again, we go to our 5-day-a-week schedule starting then. And please let me know who you're excited to see in training camp, in rookie camp. A lot of people, I'm sure, are going to say William Dufour and Autu Raty, but let me know who you're most excited to see in rookie camp, and don't be afraid to be original and give me a different name than those two guys. But love to hear from you. You could either comment on YouTube, send us the email, or comment on Twitter. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.